Introducing the Glyphoglossus molasses frog species, whose limbs can expand like balloons. Do you recall that scene from the original Shrek film? Here, it functions essentially in the same way. The frog expands by itself. This behavior is motivated by a few different things, all of which are related to avoiding death. Firstly, inflating it will make it appear larger, which may deter predators. Secondly, should you inflate, your burrow will become so securely imprisoned that a predator will never be able to free you. Lastly, if you blow air into it, it will grow into a large balloon that is very impossible to swallow. Basically, the tactics are to exaggerate your situation whenever you are unsure about what to do. This picture clearly shows the extent of a frog's ability to inflate. With all of his body filled with air, the man is singing to a woman. Thus these amphibians can grow very large if needed. It's even more satisfying when you're impossible to hold and difficult to swallow. Do you know how to elude a predator by cutting off your tail? Well, that is so very, very old. Biting your own tail is a more intriguing fashion trend right now. The arm-snout lizard, at least, has perfected this tactic. This particular lizard can only be found on South Africa's west coast. To activate its sharp armor, the spines on its back, the reptile bites its own tail. Because they are unable to determine which side to approach their prey from, lizards unnerve predators. Moreover, the lizard shields its abdomen, which lacks both armor and spines, from harm in this posture, making it the most susceptible region of its body. Although its representatives have slightly different objectives, the Namas onerus campbelli is another species of lizard that engages in comparable activities. Take a look at those rock fissures. The lizards are safe inside their preferred habitat, which is this one. Well, almost safe, as baboons and snakes, among other animals that hunt lizards, can steal them away. Biting your own tails can be useful in situations like that. You see, the lizard's back is virtually smooth when it's not coiled up. Those zits are just big enough to sting someone. However, when it is in danger, the lizard's entire body flexes, covering itself in sharp spines. Because they are pointing upward, this tactic can stop lizards from being pulled out of cracks by predators. The baboon suddenly discovers the sharp spines when it stretches its paw, and it quickly decides that this is not a smart idea. Even David Attenborough is only a person, and injuries can still occur. However, the lizard turns and flees back to his comfortable nook because he has already realized that the threat has passed. But for this specific type of lizard, this behavior is quite uncommon. Only twice did the more than 400 lizards that the researchers saw in the wild bite their tails. In fact, experts have theorized why this occurs. Since the Amazonaris campbelli has thinner armor and can run faster than the cock-snouted lizard, it is more advantageous for it to flee from the predator rather than take the form of a spiny pretzel. Fascinatingly, Steve and I discovered a different kind of lizard that exhibits comparable characteristics. We learned that certain lizards bite their own tails to enlarge themselves, but oddly, the name of this lizard was not mentioned in the publications we examined. By doing this, the lizards grow to a size that prevents them from fitting inside the jaws of the predator, so preventing them from becoming prey. This coyote will not give up on the lizard and will exact his revenge. It is well known that short-horned lizards will use their own blood to elude predators. The lizard shoots blood at the threat as it sees fit, filling its eye sockets. Yes, in complete seriousness. Watch the blood trickle out of the corner of your eye. In an instant it will become a strong jet. Blood spurts out the lizard's eye sockets as a result of the tiny blood vessels surrounding its eyes rupturing from pressure. The jet can go up to 3 meters because of the extreme pressure. But where does this pressure originate, particularly in an animal that can only reach a length of 5 inches like a lizard? However, the lizard managed to make it happen. His primary veins going out of his head have formed muscular rings around them, which he uses to block the blood flow. The heart keeps pumping blood to the head, where it stays, pressuring the surrounding tissues until they expand. The predator just needs to move into the jet's range. It's obvious he's not happy, but that makes sense. Not only do big-horned lizards use their ability to spit up blood, but they also use it for cleanliness since they live in arid environments, where dust and debris frequently become trapped in their eyes. You also have to get creative when you can't wash your face the traditional way. Not only is it blood and dirt mixed together, but it tastes awful. Additionally, the study claims that the liquid contains compounds that can upset some animals' stomachs, including wolves, coyotes, and dogs. To put it briefly, lizards just shoot blood and cause diarrhea. They don't need to leave. This lizard, incidentally, employs the expanding tactic to give the predator a mouth full of sharp spines in addition to the blood from its eyes. Oh, the stress of handling by humans has caused this gecko's scales to literally fall off his skin. This is not a brief story, this is the fundamental defense tactic. It took place on a November 2014 evening close to the northern Madagascar town of Darina. Researchers saw two geckos. The bigger one caught hold of the smaller one and struggled to ingest it. The tiniest one escaped the predator's mouth and shed all of its skin in about 30 seconds. The now happy pink creature is composed of flesh without a skin. It took off, made a landing, and crawled to safety. It seemed as though nothing had occurred. And the reason for that is that certain species of lepus gecko have evolved the capacity to shed the majority of their skin in response to being grabbed. Large scales that are easy to fall off cover its skin. A gecko appears like this both before and after it comes into contact with a predator. It's not a charming scene. Since decades ago, people have been aware of the gecko's amazing ability to avoid harm. It was unclear from whom this strange protection was meant to be effective. Some have proposed that these geckos acquired this defense mechanism to fend off nocturnal snakes because of their arboreal and nocturnal lifestyle. The ability to shed seems to be a useful defense against other geckos' attacks, nevertheless. However, that pales in comparison to the antics of spiny mice. Actually, the approach is essentially the same. When someone tries to catch the tiny insects, they lose skin fragments. It makes no difference who does it, a predator or a sincere environmentalist who merely wished to observe the animal. After learning about this strange behavior, researchers studied the spiny mice and found that the skin on their backs can be readily peeled off in up to 60% of cases. The skin of spiny mice is weaker than that of regular house mice, according to laboratory testing. It is fragile rather than elastic as it ought to be. Although the exact reason why spiny mice learn to lose large portions of their skin is still unknown, experts believe it was most likely done to protect themselves from predators. Snakes and birds of prey pursue rodents, and it is obvious that skin loss is preferable to any other result. Even though it doesn't look good and is actually rather uncomfortable, it is obviously preferable to being someone's lunch. Luckily, spiny mice can rapidly replace missing tissue, just like many other creatures that can close off sections of their bodies. Over a period of 3 weeks, the wound changed like this. And I was fully recovered 50 days later. And not even a hint of the damage is seen here. Without leaving any scars, the skin on the back regenerates fully, including the usual growth of hair. However, regeneration is not just found near the coast. Additionally, scientists found that mice could regenerate missing skin from their ears. Since very few mammals are able to do this, experts were naturally rather intrigued by the discovery. More research is being done on this issue today, and it's possible that humans will eventually be able to have skin that is as intact as that of spiny mice. This ant wants to create a raft, so it takes a larva from its food source and pulls it to the surface. Countless more who are with you are following suit. It makes no difference whether you flood their home or drop a handful of 100,000 fire ants into a pond. The ants quickly assemble into a raft that can sail for weeks. The fire ants start their rescue mission as soon as the floodwaters enter the tunnels under the ant colony. They bring the pupae, larvae, and infants of the colony to the surface. After that, they embrace. You see, they utilize their young to keep the raft afloat by locking their legs together like scaffolding. This structure eventually holds up long enough for the water to evaporate, allowing the ants to return to the security of your house. Ants do not, of course, direct or row the raft. They simply follow the current wherever it leads. The remarkable resilience of fire ants against flooding can be attributed to their evolutionary history along riverbanks. Simply said, their species would not have survived if they had not been able to band together on rafts. And this is how it appears in the laboratory. Within 2 minutes, a colony of ants constructs a fully functional raft. In fact, the scientists behind BBC Earth's Super Swarm program think that this special ability will allow ants to migrate from America to Europe when global warming causes water levels to increase. This is bad news, to put it plainly. Even yet, this survival tactic is not without its restrictions. Too much rising in the water is not desirable. The water rose so quickly after Katrina in 2005 that the ants were unable to even crawl out of their burrows to make a raft. They simply drowned, too. Are you aware of the situation here? The ant lion discards its prey's empty shells. There is no way out for insects caught in a deadly funnel of sand. This is the only way they could emerge, already deceased. Furthermore, only one kind of ant can elude the predator. It is Odin Tamaki's Boreas, and those who represent it have come to the realization that they do not have to wait to pass away. All they have to do is jump. It appears to be several jumps. Look at their strong jaws now. They are usually used by ants for self-defense, such biting predators to force them to back off, or for everyday chores like excavating nests and tending to ant larvae. Furthermore, ants belonging to the Marcus Adanta genus possess the ability to close their jaws at a speed of 525 feet per second, which makes them among the quickest moving animals. What about the ant lion, though? The walls of a trap simply collapse beneath the legs of little insects or arthropods who try to escape. But everything is not lost. You see, the ant lion may toss sand at its prospective victim, increasing the difficulty of escape by causing an avalanche. The predator catches the bug as soon as it hits the bottom of the funnel, drags it beneath the sand, and injects its venom. The only thing left to do is eat. However, research indicates that when an ant has the ability to use its jaws, it can hop out of danger and flee. This ant, incidentally, uses the same strategy to pick up speed and alert its friends to any possible danger. Although there are creatures that chase the ant lion hunts ants. And these are birds, of course. Particularly at risk are the young of this insect, the grotesque beings that dig the funnels of doom. Rather than engaging in active defense against the birds, the larva adopts a passive approach, staying still for erratic lengths of time. Furthermore, I refer to unexpected as lasting anything from a few seconds to an hour or longer. A larva in the study was immobile for an amazing 61 minutes. The scientists who noticed this grumbled that it was more exciting to watch paint dry on a wall. The trick is this, though, it's thought that animals pretend to be dead in order to elude predators. Nonetheless, birds that consume larvae do not care if the larvae are dead or not. Researchers have determined the reasoning behind this. In any case, birds react to movement. Therefore, the goal should be to remain motionless rather than appear lifeless. Perhaps the larvae are just hiding in plain sight, not even feigning to be dead. The brain of the bird is wired to favor moving prey over stationary ones. For example, if a larva falls out of its beak and remains motionless for an extended period, the bird will simply be wasting its time and will probably search for more appealing prey, even if the immobile prey is right in front of it. Nostrils. It's wise to plan beforehand and save yourself the trouble of having to think of an escape route at the last minute. The predator may receive a clear yet non-obtrusive signal from the prey telling it to quit wasting its time and energy. For instance, just like men at the gym, lizards practice to demonstrate their power. Some lizards, according to studies, lift themselves up every day in the morning and evening. Male lizards from 4 different species in Jamaica welcome the day with forceful flexes, nods of the head, and a frightening extension of the glossy flap of skin around their necks. The ceremony is also performed at dusk. Researchers think that these dominance displays prevent real physical fights between male lizards. But it accomplishes more than just that. Flexibility displays are most useful in deterring predators. Additionally, gazelles have been observed alerting predators when they sense their presence. The possible victim seems to be saying, "Hey, buddy, your surprise is over. I can sprint if necessary, and I'm in good form." Naturally, the gazelle can't talk with its lips, so it has to rely on stotting. The animal lifts all four legs off the ground simultaneously during this unique movement. These jumps show that the gazelle is in good physical condition because they require a fair amount of energy. Here, the cheetah is about to be attacked, but not before these gazelles put on a performance for it. Other than these jumps, there's nothing more to do. There have been instances where lions have stopped pursuing leaping gazelles and started hunting for other, lesser prey because they confuse the predator so much. These two instances are referred to be honest signals, and they both greatly assist animals. By increasing its chances of survival, the prey helps the predator by saving time by not pursuing an unlikely target. Everyone benefits from the situation, and nobody even needs to squirt blood out of their eyes. Till the subsequent video.